But I didn't see that. I just saw the money and like, oh, I'm going to get to renovate this building and all this stuff. And oh man, it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Almost lost. Like I said, I was to the point of having to sell equipment to pay people
Wow.
because
This is the Real Construction Owners Podcast. What's going on, everyone? Justin Ledford here, the host of Real Construction Owners Podcast, where we interview real construction owners of multi-million-dollar construction companies so you can go from being a stressed out operator to becoming a real construction owner who achieves healthy profit margins and a thriving business without having to figure it all out by yourself. Today, we have a very special guest, Jason Gilmore, owner of Summit Roofing and Solar. He's very knowledgeable in construction from the insurance restoration side of things, as well as the commercial contracting. And if you listen all the way to the end, I have a very special treat for you. You're going to get to hear how he had one job that became a nightmare that made him almost has to close down his construction company. Buckle up, because there's a lot of nuggets in here. Let's go.
Welcome to the Real Construction Owners Podcast, where we interview real construction owners who are doing big things in the world. We have a special guest, Jason Gilmore, out of Oklahoma with Summit Roofing and Solar. How you doing, bud?
hey, great, Justin. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being on the call today. Hey, talk to our audience. Where are you out of? Tell them your history. How'd you get into construction? Give us a little background story.
Okay, yeah, kind of a serial entrepreneur. Like I said, I've had had a construction company in the past. It was more of just a general construction type thing, general contractor, nothing specified, mostly like remodeling and some new construction, residential, things like that. And I've had a few other businesses, but I've started this business 3 years ago. Actually bought another roofing company and just kind of rebranded it. And the whole plan, and we're in Tulsa and we're Summit Roofing, but the plan was to go to Colorado and start a roofing company. Well, that didn't work. Then I guess I should have told you that story when I talked to you before, when you were like, hey, what's something you did? You learned your lesson, and it didn't work out. And that was going to Colorado in a couple RVs and deciding we were going to chase some money and start a roofing company.
Why didn't that work out?
Because the guys that talked me into doing it really didn't have a plan. And I was basically, I started out financing it, and because I had still had another business, an RV business, that I was kind of in the process of selling off. And when they were there for like a month, and then I went up there and I was like, this is not going to work. Like, I don't know, I don't know anything about roofing. I mean, I know a little bit, you know what I mean? The roofing business, I know the construction business, not roofing specifically. And I don't know anything about Colorado besides, the mountains are beautiful and the weather.
All the licensing, all the permitting, all the different stipulations.
Right.
And
there's no state license.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you went from being a serial entrepreneur, from collection business to RV business to getting into roofing. And what do you love about the storm restoration industry?
Everybody that deals with storms, I mean, it's kind of exciting, it's fun, and it's a challenge, and if you really just focus on the people and helping the people that are put in these situations. And that's one thing I didn't realize when I got into this, is like 90% of these people have no clue what to do. Like they don't understand why their roof's messed up. Hey, it's not leaking. Why do I need to mess with this? What do I need to do? And then they sure don't understand the insurance process. And then there's so many chuck in a truck, guys out there that'll run around in a storm trying to make a quick buck, and it's at the cost of the homeowner because they don't do a good job, and they take the money and run, and when they have a problem, they're nowhere to be found. So it's really the process of helping people through a tough time and a tough situation, and that's what I've become to like most about it.
So you have a servant heart. You do this to impact, but at the same time, you're solving a big problem, and you're in return making a good living doing it. It's the same for me. That's why I got into roofing, to help my family. But then I realized, like you just said, people need our help. After going against insurance companies, they don't realize how difficult it is. They're going to be undervalued. That's awesome that you said that. We know each other from, it looks like we just lost each other.
But yeah, so I think through maybe through Sky Diamonds.
Yeah, that's how we met through. We're both part of the Sky Diamonds University. You've been a part of it for about 3 months. And in that
Right.
3 months, what has this taught you? Because you're an owner who's wearing multiple hats, and your goal is to be an owner overseeing everything. What would you say
Right.
that course or that mastermind has taught you?
Well, I mean, the first thing it taught me is I needed to fire everybody and start over, because it was, and I don't mean that in a harsh way, but I mean, I probably had allowed people to things to go on too long, where I was putting up with things that I shouldn't have been putting up with. Being a, bleeding heart, sometimes it's hard to get rid of people, and, especially, we're going through tough times in our economy, and everybody's having all these hard times. And it's hard to kick somebody out on the street, and then you got to start over. That means you got to get in there, you got to start doing the job again, and you got to find somebody else to come in to do it and train them, so it's just a whole process. And anyway, but there's nothing more important than culture, right? So that's what I realized first. And it's something that I had already known, but it would just got reaffirmed with getting paired up with the Sky Diamonds group, with Lee.
Yeah.
Everybody just, I mean, that's number one, is that you got to have the right culture in your business. If not, you're gonna, I got a partner, and last year he said, I almost wanted to quit roofing last year. It was so bad. It got so bad at times, just with the negativity and the, people talking here and, just the bad seeds. So yeah. So first thing was first, is kind of clean house and start from scratch. It's worked well. We've got a totally different culture, totally different people, and we're doing things on our terms, the way that we like to do them now.
How have you created that culture?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is you've got to take a look at yourself. And for one, I started getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going to the gym and inviting everybody to the gym.
Yeah,
And
let's go.
Instead of going to the gym at 8 and getting here at 9:30, 10, or coming in at 8:39 and then heading to the gym at 11 or 1, for a couple hours in the middle of the day, or whatever.
You're leading the pack.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what you've got to do, is you got to say, okay, what do I want? What do I want my business to look like? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want the people around me to look like? And then you've got to set the standard and lead the way.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So as far as your hobbies, you mentioned you like to do some golfing, you like to do some sport fishing. Do you find any similarities in those in running your business?
Man, I do. I really don't do it for leisure. I do find similarities, because it's about the competitiveness and the camaraderie that you get with that. And the golfing and the fishing, I mainly do that with clients, friends that are clients, and and the people that work for them, and my sales guys. Like, if they hit a certain number, guess what? I'm going to take them to Cabo and help them catch a marlin.
That's
I want
awesome.
everybody. Yeah. If you sell $1 million worth of roofs, you deserve to have a picture of you holding a marlin on your wall in your office, or at your home, or whatever it is. And we've been able to do that, and it's pretty cool.
Talk about impact. So, it sounds like you reward your sales guys. If somebody's listening to this and they're burnt out, they're in Oklahoma, or they're looking to move to a better storm area, why would somebody want to come work with you, Jason? Why would somebody say, you know what, that guy sounds interesting. He seems like he's got a good heart. Tell us.
Well, primarily because I care about the success of the people around me. I mean, I want you to be successful. And I'm going to do everything I can to help you be successful. And that's the culture here. And I want to know, I want to know what I want people to focus on their dreams, and I don't want to know what they are. So I can help hold them accountable. And and I want to surround myself with people that I can share my dreams and goals with, and they're going to also help me be accountable for those. Like I said, it's just about, getting up early and getting started early. Our goal here is 250 plus, and in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it's not as much money as it used to be, but it's a lot more money in Tulsa than it is in places like Florida, California, Texas. And there's no reason why, if you come to work here and you put into it, what everybody around you is putting into it, there's no reason why you can't make 250 plus.
Yeah, Oklahoma is a hail zone. Like it's known for its gnarly hail, 2-3 inch hail, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess our light hail seasons are probably good hail seasons in other places, right? So
Yeah.
we're, like you said, we're a little bit spoiled here. If it's not, if it's not busting out car windows and going all the way through the decking in some places, then we're just like, what? Come on, that's terrible, we need bigger hail.
Right.
You know.
So talk to us about solar. It really is a modern day gold rush. We've implemented it into our business, and it's morphed our sales guys and the types of commissions. How long you've been selling it? What trainings are you providing? How's it doing in Oklahoma?
Well, I mean, we're just we're pretty green. We're fresh. We've just started selling it. I don't really know how well it's doing. There's a lot of interest. We've sold some jobs and then they kind of fell through because of there was an issue with the power company, the net metering, or there was some issue with it. You know what I mean? Because not everybody's solar just doesn't work for everybody. There's a lot of factors. We're just now kind of moving into a whole different process as far as solar goes, with working with Sky Diamonds and training canvassers to go out, set appointments, and then turning those over to a real solar professional that can sell and close the deal.
That technique works. Make yourself a sales organization where you just train canvassers to go schedule the appointment for somebody like Sky Diamonds. That model works.
My thought was, I wasted 2 months with a sales guy, and I'm like, for what? For me to have to pay him 50% of the deals that he actually sold, which he's probably actually burning more doors and burning more leads than he was anything else, So if his closing rate's 1 out of 10, and I can use, say Sky Diamonds is 3 or 4 out of 10, or whatever it is, depending on how good my leads and appointments are, obviously. If I'm just, if I'm turning in a bunch of power bills of people that live in the jungle, the closing rate's probably not going to be as high, right? So we got to pay that too. But I'm just saying, if they can close at a higher rate than what my guys do for all the time and energy and pain and suffering that you have to put into training a sales guy and managing them, some of them are great, some of them aren't, but to deal with. But it just made more sense to me.
I agree. What would you say is a challenge that everybody has holes in their business, myself included. What would you say is a challenge that you have right now?
Right now is just we're really focused right now on not only generating leads, good quality leads, but being able to keep track of them. Like I told you before, I used to have a collection agency, and I was extremely psychotic about contact and staying in contact and staying on. You know what I mean? Because in collections, if you don't call people 5 times a day, you're just not gonna get through to them. Persistence beats resistance. So I think getting a lead in, turn it over to a sales guy, and then managing that process, because sales guys. I was a sales guy too. That's how I started out before I was an entrepreneur. But we were all sales guys somewhere doing something, and it was I hate it. I get a lead and I call, they don't answer. I'm like, gosh, this screw that. I'm gonna go
never call them again. But all you got to do is follow up on them, text them, call them the next day, try a different time.
Yeah, but they have no sweat equity into that lead. They're just like, oh, this is a junk. No skin in the game. This is a junk lead. I'm not gonna waste my time on it.
Yeah,
if it's a lead that they found.
Those leads cost money.
Yeah,
they cost. If you average it out in my office, it's like over $350 per lead. So these boys better be calling them.
Yeah, but I mean, they're just not going to. And you probably maybe don't want them to, because you want to focus on being out closing deals and running appointments. So just tweaking our system a little bit. And of course I've got, obviously, owning a call center in the past, have got some experience in that. And so it's just trying to get somebody on staff that I can have as like a, inside sales type thing, where they're calling these people. If we got to call them 3 times a day for 90 days, and on the 90th day, on the 3rd phone call, they answer and we end up selling them a roof and solar, whatever, then that was worth it, right?
100%.
But maybe we got to call them, 300 times. And
Yeah.
it's the old James Bond method. Like 50 no's and a yes is still a yes.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
just about generating all those no's.
What would you say is one of the riskiest jobs you took on, or the most challenging jobs you took on, and the lesson you learned from that?
When I was a young bull, and I won't get into that story because I don't know, the age of the audience, but not to get graphic, but if you know the story of the old bull and the young bull,
Yep.
and you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I had an opportunity to take this job. There's a big 20 some story apartment building in downtown Tulsa. It's round, first building ever generated, designed by a computer. There's two identical ones in Chicago. Well, it's like I said, it's a round, which means all the apartments are pie shaped. But I got the contract to remodel all of it on the inside,
Wow.
which was multi-million-dollar contract, and that's all I saw was money and prestige from this job. And it's kind of, even now I still, when I talk about it, people are like, wow, that was you. You were. I was like, yeah, but it's not as cool as it sounds. I mean, I almost lost everything I had, which I had. It's usually the story about how'd you get in the RV business. Well, I took on a project that was way too big, and I saw money signs, and I didn't look at all the reasons why it wouldn't work, and I also didn't consider, like, well, why are they wanting me to do it? Like, there's a lot of other bigger contractors out there and guys out there. Well, because they all turned it down, but I didn't see that. I just saw the money and, like, oh, I'm going to get to renovate this building and all this stuff, and oh man, it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Almost lost. Like I said, I was to the point of having to sell equipment to pay people.
Wow.
Because the money, they just keep you strung out on money, like.
Was it like net 90 or something? Net 90 days or something? Or
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be, we got finished and got paid. Everybody got paid on that Friday. However, you couldn't get a punch out because there was always something wrong, or they were having a problem getting materials. There was we didn't have the toilet paper holders, so they couldn't sign off on it. So that's you know what I mean? So we're holding up thousands. It was just a nightmare. So never again. So that's why when I told you I hadn't really had that happen to me in this business, because I've turned down several jobs. I learned a big lesson there. And now, I mean, I really consider, what's all these different aspects of any job I'm doing. Because I've had my guys come to me wanting to do these big commercial jobs, or this big Spanish tile house, or this, some guy had an in with Walmart, and I was like, hell no, we ain't messing with Walmart. That's just you know what Walmart does? They put people out of business. That's what Walmart does. Yeah. I don't care. Our Walmart will find a way to put you out of business.
Right.
If they can make a dime. And so I was like, no, we're not doing Walmart. I don't care if you're Sam Walton's your uncle or grandpa. I'm not working for Walmart because they're not going to pay me. And I don't have millions of dollars to front all their projects. And in other big projects, I'm just like, no, I'm not. You're going to tie up all your money in one project, and then you're screwed if they don't pay you. So, yeah.
So you're selective. You're more selective. That's one of the extrapolations that I'm hearing. You're more selective on the jobs that you take. What's another lesson you learned from that?
Be humble. It doesn't really matter what anybody thinks. It doesn't. It doesn't. You can make more off a 2-bedroom 1,000 square foot house than you can a 25-story apartment building.
And that's fantastic. Some people chase the dollar signs and they don't see all the problems, the things that could go wrong, all the red tape areas, and too many contractors do that, and then no wonder why they go out of business. So changing gears, what's something you're doing with your money to protect your legacy, to protect your family? Are you investing?
Yeah. Got another entity that I've started up, and I've got some investors and other people on board with it, and so we're primarily focused on buying homes and turning them into Airbnbs.
Nice.
So we've got a few now, and that's kind of our goal, and we're trying to get them in destination areas. We've got some here in Tulsa. We just kind of started out with something close by in same neighborhood type of thing, so where we could just kind of use it as a static test, to see if we it's just like anything else. Everybody wants to go buy a big $1 million home on the beach and rent it out when they're not there. But do you?
Yeah.
Do you know really what? There could be a lot of issues
What
there that you
ifs?
don't really know
What
about. What
ifs?
ifs? Yeah, yeah. What if they burn it down, or what if they turn? I
Right.
don't know. It's just just
So
to make sure
you
that
started with one in Tulsa. And you've
yeah.
acquired a few more since then?
Well, we're working on acquiring. We're looking at properties. We're looking at one in the Keys, looking at one in Santa Fe, New Mexico, looking at a place in Costa Rica. So we're just starting
Nice.
to kind of branch out, and the goal is like it's not only is my money uh, protected, and I'm and that's the whole thing. And you probably know it's like, so don't go out and buy a Porsche or a boat, invest it in these things, and then the money you're making off all these properties, then go use that to buy your boat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Amen. Amen. That's what
and,
we do.
and
We take our money, we buy foreclosure, fix it up, put a tenant in it, 6 months later, refinance it and go do that. And within 3 seasons, several years ago, I now own a bunch of property because I did that once,
right,
including Costa Rica. When I was talking to you today, we were looking at another place in San Antonio. That's awesome that you're not just blowing your money on boats and buying big jacked up trucks. All that stuff's cool and in time, the right time. But it's great
yeah.
that you're actually using your money and investing in your future. Too many people don't do that.
No, and I mean, I probably made those mistakes when I was younger because I needed I needed a badass truck and a boat and whatever else. But man, that stuff just it just doesn't. It's just not important. I think my truck's 11 years old, and I just have no problems with it. 150,000
Yeah,
miles, and no. But you know what? I don't have a payment on it. So
that's awesome.
yeah, I don't really have a payment on anything. So pretty much every dime that I make either goes back into the business or it gets invested in real property. So
And finally, what is your goal right now? What are you charging towards?
short term, long term. Short term, we done. We're just shy of the $2 million mark the last 2 years. So I'd really like this year to hit the $5 million mark, and I would like within the next 2 to 3 years hit the $20 million mark.
Nice.
And then continue to grow and expand from there. And I want to fly private, man. I love traveling, and I just what I mean. I that's kind of the goal is within 5 years to be flying private.
Balling out of control. I love it.
Well, yeah, it's actually it's not that hard to do if you really think about it, and it's it may sound snotty or whatever, but it's really not. It's just it saves you a lot of time.
So you're talking about having your own plane, somebody fly you somewhere?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is there's more ways to pay for it than what you might think.
Okay,
you can also rent that. You can also rent that out.
Talk about that a little bit. Like let's dive a little deeper on that. How do you do that?
Well, you basically rent it out. It's just like a tour. It's like
Turo.
Like Uber. A Turo. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so I met a guy up at the lake. I go to the lake quite a bit too. I guess that's another hobby up here that I have. Oklahoma, it's hot as hell, and there's a bunch of lakes. So that's kind of what everybody does here. Is go float in the water somewhere on a you'll be on $1 million boat and you'll be floating on a $5 noodle, drinking a natural light, next to it. But that's what they do
great.
here.
Yeah. Hey, same in Texas.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not that much difference. But so I met a guy up there, and he's like, he has an 80-foot yacht in Miami, and I was like, what the hell do you do? And he was like, oh, I just I do restore gym equipment and do blah blah blah. And I was like, what? So anyway, he started telling me, but no, it's like it's got its own website, and like all these rock stars and famous people are always renting it out from him. And I was like, no shit, I never thought about that. So it's and then somebody was telling me about the Toro thing, and I was like, wow. So there's just a lot of ways to have some of those things and enjoy some of those things and not really have to pay for it.
It's smart. That's what an entrepreneur does. We see the opportunity in every obstacle. Jason, I appreciate you getting on our call today. Jason Gilmore with Summit Roofing and Solar. listen, guys, if you're looking for somebody to join in the Oklahoma area, this guy, he's got a heart of gold. How can they reach out to you, Jason?
918-852-2559, or the office number is 918-508-0144. Can hit us up on Facebook, Summit Roofing and Solar.
They got that big hill. They got that big hill.
Yeah, the big gnarly with the horns on it. Yeah, it's the ones with the horns on it. And we get them year round here too. But
right on. Hey, brother, I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jared.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.